We're going to buzz through this real quick because Lori has a whole bunch of acronyms she's got to keep in her mind to explain to us. So I'll hurry. It's a real privilege to present this on behalf of Bucky Glover, the chair of this committee. It's a work in progress, and it's in constant motion as we define what we started out with was semi-independence. Then Galen said, maybe not, an umbrella doesn't work. And so I think where we sit right now on this committee is we're moving to effectiveness. And the objective of the gathering of information that my subcommittee, along with Mike Henderson, he's co-chair with me, is to gather data about the characteristics of boards so we understand that a board, whether they're within another agency or whether they are like my state where we stand alone, that they can still be very effective and very efficient, and we just don't have a grip on that. So I think the focus is really more to take this data, analyze it, and determine which boards are really operating in a highly cost-effective way, and which boards would like to maybe see some data about themselves compared to aggregate data on a national basis to determine if there can be improvements in the agency's efficiency, the support agency's efficiency in helping the board meet its public responsibility. And it's a shifting landscape that we have. I'm not going to go through all the slides, but I do believe if you look at this slide here, it is believed that boards with independent operating characteristics are more effective. That's an assumption. We haven't proven that yet. And that's why we're looking at the data to find out, for example, California. They are in an umbrella agency, and they're highly effective in the enforcement area. They're very cooperative with other state boards. They really have set a mark. They've got a wonderful feature in their statute that they have a $2 million continuing appropriation without legislative action if they get into a quarrel on audit quality. They don't have to wait for the legislature to appropriate something. That's really a nice feature. I have spent 8 years trying to protect my fund balance. They don't have to worry about it. They can just go. So there are a lot of things of different statutes and different board activities that we need to understand better. This committee sent out a questionnaire to the burden of most executive directors with 39 questions that had 8 key points. Are you standalone? What's the characteristic of the boards? Are they CPAs, not CPAs? Do you have public members? Do you not have public members? Do the people who serve on the boards, are they knowledgeable about the public accounting profession? What the data showed right up front was yes. Most boards have the majority of CPAs. They understand the business. They understand their public responsibilities. We, I think, maybe in error, put a couple of questions in there on enforcement measures, and that raised a lot of angst among executive directors and board members that the objective of this committee was to compare one board to another. That is not it. It's to understand the characteristics of boards across the country so that when NASBA in its new mission, what was that, mission driven? Is that the term? Okay. Member focused. That they had information that dialogue could proceed with the boards and or the legislators. That's a different objective than comparing the ineffectiveness of the Washington State Board to Oregon, my colleague here. So I think it's important for the boards to understand this is not about telling you what to do. It's just saying, here's some information on how other boards operate, and if you choose to have a dialogue about changing your governance, and I hope that message rings clear. I'm not going to go through all the other slides. We were very happy out of the 55 jurisdictions. We had 41 that responded. The important thing to me was 41 boards had sole rulemaking authority, and I thought that was pretty nifty. And we have done some stopgap measures, Mike Henderson and I, of getting a hold of those boards who didn't respond and getting some more information on the kind of measurements they use, benchmarks, if you will. How much does it cost to produce a credential in X state or Y state? And we've gotten we're inundated with data. I met with Ed Barnicott yesterday morning to talk about we need some help on my subcommittee and Henderson's subcommittee to take this data and analyze what does it tell us. And then we will move forward in putting together what we hope will be a toolkit for boards and executive directors to be able to have a dialogue about their activities if they are faced with some kind of legislative action, and choose to do that. This is not something that it's my understanding that NASBA is going to impose. It is something the board chooses if they would prefer to come out of a super agency and be more independent. That's fine, but that's the board's decision, and it has so many nuances to it. I've gone through that for 3 years, and it's just tough. It's ugly. But we'll give you a toolkit, speaking points, and that type of thing, so that you'll have a launching pad for any discussion of consolidation or unconsolidation, or whatever term we want to put on that. Additionally, there are 3 subcommittees to the State Board Relevance and Effectiveness Committee. Mike Barham and Cheryl Wilson are the State Board Relations, and we sent out a questionnaire for them and found out that the majority of the boards who responded felt they had very good relations with their state society. What we did find out also was that there are a number of boards, including mine, where attending society meetings, because Rich Jones and Judy Love are right there at the board meetings every time, but the other way doesn't seem that we've gotten that door open yet. That's probably my remiss, because I could talk to Rich and have that happen, I would think. So that relationship is important in the context of this particular committee, because boards can't lobby. And if there's going to be legislation, then we need some support from the society. You got to have that, in my experience. You've got to have the AICPA in the dialogue. You've got to have TAC in the dialogue. You've got to have the Washington Association of Accountants in our state in that dialogue. You've got to bring all these people together to run that gauntlet for you. So, having said that, we're plowing new ground. We need, and some committee members, and Chuck, you'll have to respond to this. I don't think we need any more information. We just need to find out what we have, I think. And that we're here to provide a toolkit. And NASBA then, once we get this all cast, will pull these 3 committees together, I believe, and have handouts to legislators, so the legislators understand the importance of boards, how the agency itself supports boards, and that this toolkit will give you some dialogue if you choose to move in a different direction. But that's all a choice. That's about as quick as I can get through this, folks. I appreciate it very much.